couple of years back, while teaching the Ampere's loop law, we encountered a very unique problem, and it seemed that the Ampere's loop law is wrong, or maybe it has some problem. In fact, there is a very interesting concept in the Ampere's loop law which you should be really, really careful about. So, is Ampere's loop law really wrong? Is there something very weird about it? That's what we are about to discover in this short conceptual video. So make sure you're watching it till the end, because you're going to be literally blown away with the concept that you're going to learn. And make sure you're smashing the like button to show your support for physics and me and my love for physics. So let's get started. Now, you all know that when you typically learn Ampere's loop law, you generally start applying it for the most famous infinitely long wire. So you take a very long wire, and it is carrying some current I, and you want to figure out how much magnetic field strength is there at a particular distance r from the wire. And it all begins by taking an Amperian path, which is also a circle of that same radius r, which is the distance from the wire where you want to measure the field. And why you do that is because you know the magnetic field lines are also concentric in nature. Not just that, you will also notice everywhere on this path or everywhere on this circle, because you are equidistant, your magnetic field strength along this circle is the same. Yes, as you go away and away and away, the field strength will keep on reducing gradually. And the advantage of choosing an Amperian path along the magnetic field line is the calculations become easy when you specially do the dot product. What do I mean by that? I'll show it to you. So recollect the Ampere's loop law, which is magnetic field dot producted with the small path that you cover, magnetic field at that point and the small path that you cover, and you keep taking the dot product at every single point on that blue dotted path, which is the Amperian path, which is a closed path, and you complete one exact loop. That's why the cyclic integral, which is equal to permeability into the enclosed current, the current passing through that Amperian path. Well, as you can see, magnetic field and dl are in the same direction, so the angle between them is 0. So the dot product will become cos 0. Cos 0, we all know, is going to be 1. Next, the enclosed current through that is going to be I. So the RHS is just I. Next, magnetic field throughout this particular path is the same magnitude-wise. Hence, the magnetic field comes outside that particular integration, as you can see. So the next step will be to solve this integration of dl. That means you add all the small paths throughout this Amperian loop, which is the circumference, becomes 2 pi r. Shifting all the terms, you get mu naught I by 2 pi r, which is exactly what you expect it to be, and that is what is also there in your books. But there is no problem here. The surprising part begins now, so pay close attention. I need your full focus now. Now the wire is not infinitely long, rather it is finitely long, and you get such finite elements at so many places in physics. Now you choose the same Amperian loop. Obviously, Amperian path should be a free will. Nobody can force you that you have to use it. It's a matter of convenience and choice after all. And then we say that, okay, the magnetic field lines are concentric in nature, and everywhere along these concentric circles, the strength of the field is the same. So better choose the Amperian path also to be circular. We apply the same Ampere's loop law. Doesn't seem anything different. Magnetic field dl are in the same direction. This diagram looks very much similar to the one we derived for the infinitely long. In fact, the steps also should look the same. Magnetic field will come outside. The angle between them being 0, cos 0 will become 1. Enclosed current will become I. And again, you will get mu naught I by 2 pi r. This should be really hard for you to digest. How is it that for infinitely long and for finitely long, the formulas are the same? If you know a little bit, you have studied this chapter, you know, in fact, it is not the same. The correct formula for this is actually mu naught I by 4 pi r. Sine theta 1 plus sine theta 2. This theta 1, theta 2 are the angles subtended by the ends at the point where you want to find the field. Something clearly has gone wrong. Either the law itself is wrong, or the manner in which we have applied is wrong. But feels like whatever we have done, looks to be correct. Is there something wrong that you can identify? I would suggest think about it for a minute, see if you can find a flaw, see what has been done, and maybe something is wrong, something is missing. I would advise you to pause the video before proceeding ahead. Give it a thought. Well, I hope you had paused the video and you have figured it out. Hopefully, you guys are smart, and no worries, even if you are not able to figure it out. That's the reason why this particular video is made. The problem is, for a finite wire, how can a finite wire just exist? Current can go in and just disappear out of nowhere. Just imagine this. For a finite wire, where is the current going? Where is the current coming from? There must be an additional part of the circuit. Maybe there is a battery connected and there are these wires. So you'll be like, okay, what difference does that make? The problem is, when you use the Ampere's loop law, the B inside that integration is not just any magnetic field, it is a magnetic field due to all the wire elements present everywhere around it. Which means this element will also produce a field, that element will also produce a field, even this element will also produce a field. So what happens? The assumption that we made that the magnetic field lines are circular, concentric ones is wrong. Rather, it will be some weird looking loops, but not circular for sure. Because every element will contribute differently, directions are different, distances are different. So it is non-uniform. Not just that, it is not even concentric. So that diagram itself was wrong. So what effect does it have in our derivation? Well, as you might recollect, this was our derivation. This is the part where we went wrong. Magnetic field was assumed to be constant throughout this particular loop, which it is clearly not, because every part has different contributions. So this step onwards, everything was wrong. So whatever we wrote here does not really matter. That's crazy. What happens for an infinitely long wire? Well, for an infinitely long wire, think of it. It's a never-ending wire. Even if you try to complete a loop, you can really take the wire from very far away places on the boundaries of the universe and then complete the circuit from the negative infinity part. So the remaining part of the circuit will have no or negligible effect, because that remaining part has been taken from the boundaries of the universe. Yes, from infinity, boundary of the universe, negative infinity and back. So that has no effect on the magnetic field. That's how you need to think about it. The actual way in which you derive it for a finite wire is using Biot-Savart's law. But the problem with Biot-Savart's law is that you have to take small elements and each element will contribute to a field. You need to integrate their contributions of the magnetic fields and then find it out. So if the ends of the wire are here, you draw these lines and measure what angle it is, θ1 and θ2. R is the perpendicular distance from that wire carrying current I. B is the magnetic field. Then the correct formula is mu naught by 4 pi, current by distance, sine θ1 plus sine θ2. In fact, if you put θ1 and θ2 as 90 degrees, that means that end is at infinity and the lower end is at negative infinity. You will get back mu naught I by 2 pi r, which is the infinitely long wire formula. So that is the explanation for that. So coming to the point, is Ampere's loop law invalid? Is it wrong? Answer is no. Nothing was wrong in Ampere's loop law. It's just that we made a mistake while doing this particular derivation. So be very careful, especially for finite wires or such extreme cases where suddenly you might feel a law or a principle or a general theorem is suddenly invalid. I hope you loved this concept and loved this video. Make sure you're liking and let me know in the comments what more you want. Bye-bye. Take care. This was your Captain Shreyas, your physics master teacher who has been training and mentoring kids for more than 13 years.